Yo, Janelle driving first. Nice job. That's the last first until I get back from vacation now. Unless I stream tomorrow, which I highly doubt. Highly doubt happens. Hey, Base Guru, what's up, dude? Who said you're allowed to take vacation? You know, it's a good question. We actually had a bit of a situation at work because I decided to take time off for once. All right, that seems to be all up and running, I believe. Hey, speaking of work.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
I have an updated avatar for RoboChrono, but I have to log in and change it everywhere. Also, when I downloaded it, it did not like where I had saved it from, I guess. Hydrate. Oh, I forgot about that one.
It's Pikachu!
We'll wear it for a moment. Like the noise, I was like, that's a Mario noise. But which Mario noise? Yo, these hats are the reason I switched to wearing the IEMs instead of the over-the-ear headphones. We'll rock the Mario hat for a bit. I'm not wearing it during game news. Oh man. All right, we got a lot to cover today. So I think everything's up and running. Everything looks good. Happy Friday, chat. How are we doing today? Welcome to the stream. If you're here on anything, you missed the mask. It's still there. Over there, so much more comfortable. That's one reason I switched back to wearing them. The in-ears started to, like, long term. Like, if I had a long stream or like today is stream day, podcast, you know, like all of that, it started to get where it's not comfortable all day. And so I just kind of backed off from wearing them as frequently. I will probably go back to them occasionally. It just really depends. And I've been enjoying the over the years lately. They've been a lot more comfortable. So there's that side of it as well. All right. Well, I think TikTok's connecting. I'm not sure. There's no way for me to like see it, but hey, if you're on TikTok, thanks for joining. I appreciate you guys being here today. YouTube, you guys have been my focus lately, and y'all have been making the streams awesome. Showing up on YouTube or Twitch has been very thankful. Wherever you're watching from, I mean, thanks for engaging there. It's been great. It really has. Happy Friday though. We've got a long weekend for some of us. I know I'm off today. Base Guru, thanks for being on Twitch and YouTube. Next week, you guys are going to have to grind the playlist for watch time. I'm going to be out of town, and my content posting will be an occasional short or picture on like Instagram and Twitter, and that might be about it. I don't plan on bringing anything to stream, any games. I don't plan on covering game news. I really would like to like let's say like 80% disconnect from streams and office stuff and work and all the things. I did take off all week, and my job was like, "Hey, your lead dev is also off, and that means there's no one working the week y'all are both gone." I'm like, "Well, I put in for this like 2 months ago. I'm not changing it, you know." And they were like, "Well, somebody has to be available." The Hammer, thanks for following over on Rumble. I wish I had an alert there, but I don't. I don't have any alerts on Rumble. So I agreed to be on call for the last 3 days of my trip. My wife wasn't too happy. I was going to leave my work stuff home for once. Usually when we take a long trip, I will work some of the trip because it's like, hey, we're just hanging out in the Airbnb or the hotel or whatever. I can spend a couple hours working and not using up all of my vacation time. And then this time it was like, no, I want to not be at work at all. I want to completely disconnect. So I was hoping that would happen, and now I'm just going to be in the back of my mind like, oh no, somebody's going to text me that a server went down, and I'm going to have to log in and have to ruin our good time and do all the things. I'm not trying to be pessimistic about it. It just is, you know, it's one of those things that came up. So it stinks, but I guess it's not too bad. I'm not expected to be online during the on-call process, so that's good. Beer Gut Judo, what's up? How's it going? Your profile pic is hilarious. Give that time to your wife. I mean, that's the whole point. It's a family trip. Me, my wife, daughter, and then her parents are coming with us. It's gonna be a fun time. Like, we usually take an annual summer trip with them, and this is that time, and we're very much looking forward to it. I mean, I'm gonna be a beach bum for a few days. You know, we're gonna go explore and shop and eat and do all the fun things that you usually do on a vacation. So I'm very much looking forward to getting on the beach, setting up a chair and just taking a nap. Like, that's the plan. Get the best sleep of my life in that heat with the beach, the ocean breeze. Like, it's gonna be so good. I'm so pumped. Anyway, all right. Well, that's enough about me. How are you guys doing? Let me know in chat. I am very interested in what you guys are up to this next week, over the weekend. Appreciate you guys being here. If you're on a platform that has it, hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, thanks for being. We will update the watch time goal. I'm very excited to update the watch time goal today. A couple of milestones with that are awesome. So if you guys are closely watching how the watch time is going up, if you look in the corner up here, you'll see the watch time. I think I got the right hand. Yeah, there we go. The watch time goal is a little over halfway. Excited to update that today. You'll be dog sitting a little punk dog. Dude, you will. Let me tell you. Story. Okay, here's another tangent before we start the game news. I have been letting our senior dog, she is like 14 or 15, senior dog, outside because she wants to go out at like 10:30 at night. I'm like, why are you wanting to go out so late? You just came back in. Like, I just let them in for the night, right? But she's like barking and going on. Like, well, I don't want to clean up poop or pee, so let's let her outside. And so I put her out, and she doesn't come back. She doesn't come back for an hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, is she dead? Like, is it time? Did she go? No, she's just outside eating bugs. Like, I went outside. I've been going outside and walking with her because she will be gone for like an hour in our yard, and she's just eating bugs that are coming out of the ground. Locusts, I say locusts, cicadas, really. Worms. She ate some little tiny frogs. There was a little tiny frog in the backyard. She looked at it, blew her nose at it, like it hopped a little, and she snapped. And like, that frog has been digested. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? So I've been following her around at night with a flashlight and walking her because she will get so into, old dog is just hungry. Dude, she's got a thing about eating bugs. And so I'm always like putting on this old lady voice when she's fussing. I'm like, oh, it's time to go eat my bugs. It's my bug time. You know, because if you don't talk to your dogs like they're idiots, do you love them? Because they're so funny. But anyway, She is a lot lately. Not like hard to deal with. It's just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing to me? It is almost midnight and you are barking to go outside. Why are we doing this right now? And it's just because she wants to go eat her bugs. It's bug time. But anyway, all right, let's jump into the game news. Finally, I'm not wearing this hat. It's hot on my head. The flames are rising. No, just anyhow. All right. News mode should be on. That's not what we should be seeing at all. I forgot we had a background set up for the Kingdom Hearts stream last night, and so I needed to turn that off. I forgot to set that to a key, and then desktop should be on. There we are. There, I'm prepared. I'm not dumb. Well, not usually anyway. All right, now we can try this. Okay, so GTA 6. Yesterday would have been a fun news show to cover this, but here we are today. GTA 6 official box art revealed. Pre-orders go live June 25th. So, you know, Rockstar just decided casually, hey, by the way, Summer Game Fest is over. You can pre-order GTA 6 on June 25th, and here's the box art. And so there's that. I mean, it looks cool. There's been some posts on Twitter. Take-Two Interactive will not commit to a price. So I guess we'll find out when pre-orders go live. And then here's our cover art reveal trailer. Let's watch it together. It may be loud. It may not be. I don't know. You know, I wasn't really excited for this game, but I might pick it up. Like, one of the things I was like into with GTA Vice City was the soundtrack and the aesthetic. Like, I love the 80s vibe and everything. But that's it. That was all they announced yesterday. And then there's another clip of the Vice City skyline, like a slow pan out. So that was cool. And basically, just say as your goals to make sure she's returned breathing. You'll be fine. She'll be fine. The joke is basically is dog sitting one of our dogs for us this week while we're gone, and then checking on other dogs. Anyway, GTA 6. You know, we know the release date later this year, but pre-orders will go live next week. If anybody's pre-ordering, you know, what do you think the price is going to be? Do y'all think they're going to launch at $100? Do you think it'll be more? Do you think they'll go 80? I think it'll at least be 80. They could go 100 though, because they've spent so long getting this together. Let's see. All right, next topic here. Persona 6 might not be years off like players are expecting. I've read that as might not be next year, but Persona 6. One of the most fun reveals during the Xbox Game Showcase 2026 was Persona 6. There have been remakes since the 5th mainline game, but the 6th full game is where it's at, and surprisingly already been rated. It was a fun double whammy for the Persona series during the Xbox Game Showcase. Firstly, we got a release date for Persona 4 Revival, which I'm pretty excited about. But we weren't done there, as Persona 6 was also announced during the Xbox Game Showcase. So fans have already been snooping around Persona 6 for clues on the game's whereabouts. That detective work has been rewarded, as it's been discovered that Persona 6 has been rated in Australia. You think if GTA 6 is $70, then the online stuff is jacked up? Probably. Anyhow, the Australian Classification Board has given Persona 6 an M rating. Under consumer advice, buyers are warned that the game includes violence, nudity, and coarse language. Oh my. But what's the significance of a game being rated, you might be asking? Very simply, games get rated when they're closer to release. I've seen some theories that we might be waiting until 2028 for Persona 6 to come out. Yet, a source claims that Persona 6 could be scheduled for 2027, and this rating is starting to make that prediction look far more achievable and realistic. So, I kind of thought it was 2027. Sounds like funny. Oh my, Base Guru. much more realistic. I don't know. I don't know how to take that. Anyhow, I kind of figured it was 2027 because most everything that Xbox showed at their showcase was the end of this year through sometime next year. If it was 2028, that wouldn't be too surprising, but I feel like one thing that was really good with the summer announcement season that we just went through was that everybody showed their games within the next year or like out further just a little bit. Like maybe 2028, but I think a lot of games that didn't have a concrete release date are coming out a lot sooner than expected. Earlier this week we talked about Kingdom Hearts 4, which might be coming out next year. I think that one's might be a little ways off, but it would be a nice surprise if it was coming out next year. And then God of War Laufey coming out at some point sooner than expected. It could be this year, could be next year. Though if it is this year, where are they slotting that in? Up against GTA 6? Afterwards? Up against Wolverine? Like their own game? Like that's gonna be weird. I'm very curious where they're going with that. Anyway, if Persona 6 comes out sooner though, hey, that's awesome. I still need to play a lot of games. I have a lot of games I want to play through very soon, very quickly. Sony's reason to keep future single-player PlayStation games as exclusives revealed. So Sony's catalog of single-player exclusives has been consistently impressive for nearly 30 years. The company changed tack slightly a few years ago by announcing that certain exclusives would come to PC, but this isn't the case, and it looks like we may have an answer to why. We revealed March 4th, Sony was no longer releasing single-player PlayStation exclusives on PC, and this was a change of direction we've talked about a lot. It was due to mostly the fact that they weren't making the money they thought they'd be making, and then they were thinking that by being on PC, hardware sales were being impacted, and they don't want that either. So this report was eventually confirmed, and future single-player PlayStation exclusives won't be available anywhere other than on PS5 and beyond. An insider has revealed the real reason for the strategy pivot. So exclusives staying where they are is threefold. Jason Schreier has pretty much had the scoop on the PlayStation exclusive story thus far, and has commented even further on the chance to Sony's exclusives business model. I don't understand that sentence, but let's read on. In a post on Resetera, where he frequently posts, Schreier said this: I guess they're not going to lay this out publicly, but there's no ambiguity in their strategy. During a town hall a few weeks ago, Herman Hulst told staff that their single-player narrative games will be PlayStation only, and he explained that they were inconsistent with their PC releases. They didn't make enough money, and they want to keep their IP aligned to their own platform. Confirmed this with two people who heard him say it. There's no case by case here. So it's not one, not two, but three different reasons. The latter two reasons probably have a lot more weight to them. Not making enough money is always going to be cause for concern. If Sony's essentially sacrificing a big reason to solely own a PS5 for not much return, then it doesn't make much financial sense to keep spending money on PC ports that don't shift many extra copies. Secondly, tying into my last point, an exclusive is part of your fabric and identity. Having a successful game franchise you can't own anywhere else is a big incentive to buy that console. If you release exclusives on PC, then people won't necessarily have the urge to buy a PS5 or PS6 when it eventually comes out. With Wolverine, God of War Laufey, the trilogy remake, that's the God of War trilogy remake, Intergalactic in the pipeline, there are more reasons than ever to buy a PS5. Well, okay, so let's talk about this a minute, because I think this statement from Jason Schreier is a little weird, because they're still going to do yo, Francisco, what's up? This Thursday's GTA 6 pre-order. Yeah, it's coming. But anyway, the exclusive situation, they still said that multiplayer games and like their live service titles would be multi-platform, because those games require a consistently growing, or at least an increasing at some pace, player count to be considered successful, right? I mean, we look at Marathon and we've been watching the numbers go up and down, and all of that aside, you know, that's a live service game that needs to be on everything, as many platforms as possible. With single player, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot by delaying almost every single one of them out a year or more. You know, if they had done day and date with Spider-Man 2 on PC and PS5, I think the sales would have been far better on PC. The hype is part of that, is part of why those sales would be affected. Square Enix learned this kind of the hard way with Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out on PS5. You know, that one came out on PS4. It sold pretty well because people were very hyped for it. With the sequel, with Rebirth, people wanted it on PC at the same time, and then the sales were kind of cool compared to the previous edition because the hype machine, I mean, it was during COVID and all that too, so people hadn't exactly converted on PS5 just yet. The sales weren't quite there, and then, you know, couple that, they were just below expectations with sales overall on PS5. PC did a little better, but I don't think it was still as good as it could have been. Same thing with Final Fantasy 16. It launches exclusively on PS5. Sales were disappointing for Square. They released on PC. Sales were still disappointing for Square, although not as bad because, hey, extra sales are extra sales. Then they release on Xbox, and it's like, well, at least people bought it on Xbox at that point. They're going to see with Final Fantasy VII Revelation that individual platform sales might be lower. I mean, you're going to have a platform. Xbox is probably going to be the lowest volume purchase, at very long term anyway. But the hype behind the game when it comes out will be available for everybody who has that game on their platform, you know, who can buy it for their platform, which is all of them right now. So they're going to pick it up. Like, the hype is going to be there on release day. It's not going to be, oh, I'm really excited for the game to come out. Oh, it's not on my thing. I got to wait. And then who knows how long we're waiting. Like, that is a very important thing to consider. And I don't know that it's not measurable. I don't know if it's just speculation. But I do think that the kind of cultural attention span does play into how Sony's release strategy really didn't pan out on PC. Because if they had done day and date for the newer games, again, Spider-Man 2 is my biggest example. I think the sales for Spider-Man 2 would have been a lot better if they had launched it at the exact same time on PS5 and PC, because everyone would have been sharing clips and gameplay, and there would have been two platforms you could have bought it on day one, and those sales would have been way better. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what would have happened, because we can just look at the past. And again, I'm going to go back to Square. Final Fantasy 15 was the best-selling Final Fantasy of like the last decade, and it launched on Xbox and PlayStation at the same time. It eventually came to PC, and it was like a 6-month delay, but it launched on two platforms at the same time, two very popular platforms. You know, like, it did very well for Square for them to release like so many subsequent games and see disappointing sales on them. So I really think it's a little misguided of PlayStation to look at that and go, oh, well, it wasn't our release strategy. It's just that people weren't buying our games on PC. And then to say that at the same time, well, because people were buying games on PC, we weren't selling PlayStations, and we really want people to buy a PlayStation, and so we want exclusive to mean exclusive. That's fine, but you can't blame the PC players for not buying the hardware when they're buying the software that you're making available to them, and then in that same sentence say, oh, well, they're not enough of them are buying the software. It's like, well, people are buying it or they aren't, right? Like, I'm buying a PlayStation or I'm not buying a PlayStation. There's no two ways about that. I really think at the end of the day, they know that staggering the releases and doing it that way wasn't working, and they don't have any plan. They did not want to commit to a day and date. Couple that with Helix coming out, or maybe not whatever the threat is for Microsoft with releasing a console that plays PC games, and also the Steam machine that would play those PlayStation releases on it as well. Then you have a non-Sony piece of hardware, that's seen as a console playing PlayStation games. And I think they want to avoid diluting the PlayStation brand that way, because that would actually make a bigger impact. And this is their way of getting ahead of it. That's what I think is happening. I don't think it's strictly underperforming games. I think their strategy was bad and they knew that. And instead of like committing to a different plan, they did something else. Anyway, it's enough of that. It's just odd to see we're still like analyzing why they did it, why they went back to exclusives. They want to sell PlayStations. They want PS6 to be a big release, and it will be. A lot of people are still going to buy consoles. Consoles aren't going anywhere for the foreseeable future because we like them. I like them. I would much rather have a console than have to configure a game on a PC. But some games I would rather play on PC, like Minecraft. I don't want to play it on console. I don't enjoy playing it on console. The PC, it's way more fun, right? I think there's a platform for everybody. Or you can be like me and just try to get all of them at different points through the gen for some reason. That's becoming less and less of a reason for me. All right, well, speaking of exclusives, Xbox is proudly identifying exclusive games on console dashboards. I thought this was interesting. We'll just jump down to the picture. So if you look at the dashboard, Gears excuse me, Gears E-Day has this exclusive, and then it has a Series X icon next to it. So I'm wondering, have they broken the rule for parity between the Series S and the Series X? I don't think that's the case, but I would be very shocked if they didn't like sneak that in somewhere and saying that like Gears E-Day is exclusive to the Series X and is not available on the Series S. It would be very stupid of them this late in the gen to do that. But maybe it's a move Asha's trying to make to sell the Series X over the S and get people using the most powerful hardware that they have available. I have honestly thought about trading my Series S towards an X, wherever I could. You know, you see them on Facebook Market for cheap. I feel like I could sell my Series S for, a couple $100, and that would buy a used Series X on local marketplace, right? But it's interesting that their commitment to exclusives is there. I don't know. I still, in the back of my mind, I still think Gears E-Day will show up on PS6 because they said it's not coming to PlayStation 5 specifically. They could have said it's not coming to PlayStation. It's not going to other consoles. I mean, heck, it could come to Switch too. They could be an impossible port situation, and they could release this game on Switch too. And that would just, it'd be like, I'm not that surprised, right? Like, no one would be that surprised. But it's because trust at Xbox is at an all-time low. I think they're trying everything they can to regain that trust, but the studio closure thing and all of that we talked about earlier this week, just none of it's sitting well with anybody. All right. So we're talking about games coming out earlier. Sony emails now teasing that God of War Laufey is coming soon. A flurry of recent reports suggest that despite being announced recently, we won't have to wait long for God of War Laufey. The newest indication that this is true comes from Sony and PlayStation themselves. Laufey was the bombshell announcement that wrapped up the June 2026 State of Play. It's a God of War spinoff, which goes in the development pipeline, along with the God of War Trilogy remake. However, whilst the trilogy is still some time off, Laufey feels much closer. Let's see, right? It's arriving next year or this year. And so I talked about this. There's a lot of people convinced that this game could release. They were talking about coming out this year. I don't think this year is the place for it. There's no way. But I could see a January or February release for this game. So we recently mentioned how gamers are convinced that God of War Laufey is releasing soon. This followed a recent report from an insider that Laufey could release as early as 2027. The newest evidence that it could be coming out in early 2027 or sooner is a new PlayStation email being sent out, which I did receive this email. I saw this, and it strictly says coming soon to PlayStation 5 consoles. You don't say coming soon when it's 2028 that it's coming out, because that's not soon. You don't say coming soon when it's exactly 12 months away, but I think you say coming soon when it's 6 months away, or maybe 8. I think you can say coming soon there. And that's weird. It's like, again, this comes just after changing the company's marketing and branding to God of War Laufey already. Well, Wolverine not far away. You'd think that would be the focus of the marketing right now. So is Laufey really coming sooner than everyone thinks, or is she Oh, I'm sorry. Or is the company being deliberately vague? So what I find interesting is Sony did change all of their marketing materials, on social media to represent this game over Wolverine, which you think would be the hype for the next few months. Could they drop this game next month and just be like, surprise, it's here? That would be weird, right? I don't think I've seen turnaround like that, but I mean, this game has been in development for some time, and with the God of War trilogy on the horizon as well, they may want to go ahead and drop this and let it circulate. I'm expecting early 27. Do you think God of War could have been this year? Maybe, but due to GTA was delayed. Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I'm thinking if you're gonna say coming soon, you mean at least 6 to 8 months out. It could have been a November release, and maybe it still is. Maybe it's like, hey, we're the marketing partners for Grand Theft Auto. We know how big it's gonna be, but the overlap for God of War and this specific game, and people who are only going to play GTA, I don't know. That Venn diagram probably isn't that big, And I think with the holiday season coming up, they're gonna want titles that appeal to everyone, not to mention their legacy titles that have always been available. At least for the last few years of the PlayStation 5, right? It's less playing the game, it's the advertisement and the hype, right? And I do think that's where it's weird that it would come around so quick, because they are the marketing partners for Grand Theft Auto 6. They have the marketing deals. They're going to be pushing GTA 6 on PlayStation like nobody else. Like Xbox can't run an Xbox ad for GTA. They can only like show trailers on YouTube and on their own console pretty much, and like websites. They can't buy the ad space for GTA 6 on Xbox. And so that marketing campaign, that marketing blitz is going to start heavily in October. So it's like, when does this game slot into that? When does this game show up at all? Right? I think this year's too packed. I think there's too much going on. Unless they did a shadow drop, like I said, next month, they could. I think next month they could go, hey, we're done. Yo, G-Man, what's up? All right. I still think it could happen. Okay. So Sony removes mention of PC from PlayStation's annual business report, but has plenty to say about AI. Sony's removed any mention of games coming to PC in its annual business environment and strategy report for PlayStation, but has added details on how it will utilize AI. Sony plans to use AI to unleash creativity of studios and further enhance the PlayStation experience. This sounds too broad to be useful information. The report states, with the company aiming to improve productivity through the use of AI-powered tools within its studios, this will allow developers to reinvest their time into building richer worlds and gameplay experiences. It might actually end up being them more fighting against AI, the prompts they're using to generate content or prototype things. This is going to be a weird time as AI is adopted into the workflow. I'm not against it. I'm concerned about the expectations from C-suite executives that are out of touch with what AI is actually capable of doing, and what it's actually doing, and what really is required for you to be successful at using AI to speed up or optimize a process. Sony has plans to leverage AI in the PlayStation Store to route transactions more efficiently and to personalize and recommend content for each individual user. Sony also aims to push visual fidelity forward and to deliver high-quality gameplay experiences through continued investment in AI and machine learning. Well, that's just upscaling, right? Like, it's simplified. It's just upscaling. AI upscaling is very important. I think the benefits there are too good to ignore. A lot of people go, I don't want fake frames in my games. It's like, you don't even notice half the time. And if you do, it's because it was implemented badly, right? Like, don't blame the tools. It's like saying, well, my house is bad, therefore all hammers are terrible. It's like, well, it was used improperly. I said, but while this AI chatter is new for 2026, there's something missing that was there last year. In 2025, Sony's report had a line which said the company was going to continue its efforts to deploy its first-party titles to multiple platforms such as PC. However, this proclamation doesn't feature in 2026's version, and its omission is our first public confirmation or admission from Sony that PlayStation's big tentpole games will no longer be released on PC as well as console. Like we talked about this. You know, it's a strategy that didn't work out for them, but I also think they miss strategized the whole process. AI should be a tool to help, but not actually the product. No, I agree. I'm okay, and I would appreciate disclosure. Like, not just don't just give me the product that you used AI to develop. Disclose I used AI in this product or to help create this game. You know, while maybe none of the assets are AI generated, maybe some of the code is AI generated or AI modified, right? Like, just let me know. Just let me know. The Epic Games launcher is getting a ground up rebuild, which will make it boot 5 times faster. Oh, thank God. The Epic Games launcher is so rough. During a presentation at Unreal Fest, where the company discussed upcoming plans for the Epic Games Store, it explained in detail what its priorities were for the next 12 months to overhaul the store and game launcher. In slideshow images taken by ex-user Luca on Indeed and shared on Reddit, Epic split its priorities into 3 time frames, with the most imminent changes including storefront re-architecture and a private beta of an Epic Games Launcher version 2, along with other quality of life improvements like in-store patch notes, cross-reaching gifting, and chunked installation for Fortnite. That's cool. After these tasks, Epic will move onto a public release of the Epic Games Launcher V2, as well as improving Epic Games Store's design and UX, including the addition of player profiles and avatars, user-written reviews, and improvements to search. Finally, tasks planned for further in the future include a multi-platform store, potentially referring to the presence of an Epic Games Store on Xbox's Project Helix, as well as universal controller support and a storefront redesign. The company then went into specifics, but it was its comments on the Epic Games launcher that were perhaps the most crucial, with a slide claiming every developer in this room and every player we have has experienced challenges with the current launcher. It's time for a change. It also claimed that the upcoming version 2 of the Epic Games launcher will have a cold start, be 5 times faster on average. That'll be really nice. If everybody's having an issue with it, then obviously there's some work to be done. I'll tell you, it's not super slow personally. I just find it to be very clunky on boot, and then when you exit a game it comes back up, and I'm like, I don't like this behavior much at all. But okay, you know, I like to see improvements, and I'm sure Steam is driving them to be even better than they were before, so maybe they can just keep improving. I know the Epic Games Store launched, it was kind of a joke, but I mean, I check it. They give away free games, and then there's a couple of things, you know, I've picked up from there. Sometimes they do free Fortnite skins if you buy you know, a DLC or a top up for a different gacha game or something. That's been kind of cool, so I think it's worth checking out. I hope they continue to make it better. All right, I thought this was hilarious. Tokyo's Shibuya region is giving residents Final Fantasy XIV in-game items for donating their taxes. The gifts are for those who choose to pay their hometown tax to Shibuya. So the Japanese taxation system includes a policy called the hometown tax, which was introduced in 2008. Under the terms of the hometown tax, Japanese citizens can choose to contribute some of their taxes to a regional municipality instead of the central government. This doesn't have to be the area where the citizen currently lives. It can be the area where they grew up, hence the hometown tax name, or which otherwise holds some significance for them. In an attempt to convince citizens to choose their area for hometown tax donation, some municipalities offer local gifts in return for their donation. Tokyo has 23 wards, all of which have their own municipal autonomy, which means each ward also qualifies as an area which can be nominated for the hometown tax. This year, the Shibuya ward, which is home to the Shibuya Crossing landmark, is offering in-game items for Final Fantasy XIV as a gift for anyone who chooses it as their hometown tax area. As reported by Famitsu, recipients will get Fields of Fantasia, the Collegiate Attire costume set, the Magitech attire, 4 dance emotes, and a Mega Shiba mount inspired by the Hachiko statue in Shibuya. The official site for the gifts notes that taxpayers will get different DLC depending on the amount of money they donate through the hometown tax. The Mega Sheep amount, for example, is a gift for donating 9,000 yen, $56. According to the Final Fantasy Online store, the DLC is worth $24. So this is kind of cool. I like this idea. Fantasia, for example, are items that allow you to change your character's look and race. Oh, nice. You know, Chili, I just looked at your comment about Steam being a joke at launch too, talking about the Epic Store. That's true. Steam was very lightly featured at launch. It's the same way when a competitor to YouTube shows up and they're like, what do you mean you don't have playlists yet? And it's like, well, yeah, they just started. Like, YouTube has had playlists for how long, and how long didn't they have it before they got playlists? Like, come on now. Final Fantasy XIV has been deepening its ties with the local community through events held in Shibuya and other initiatives, reads a statement via machine translation from Square Enix, which is headquartered in Shinjuku but has an office in Shibuya. Moving forward, as part of its Shibuya-based initiatives, the company will continue to undertake various projects that leverage Shibuya's unique character as a hub for diverse cultures. While hometown tax is generally welcomed in Japan as a way of distributing tax to other regions, allowing those in urban areas to donate to public services in the rural areas where they grew up, for example, the giving of gifts to those donating their hometown tax, is a practice that has been criticized by some. I think it's neat. I think it's a cool option. Some claim that the municipalities that offer the best gifts, rather than the most deserving of the funds, are the ones who receive the most hometown tax, while areas that have no specialty hometown products or don't offer gifts that are appealing enough tend to miss out on donations. Basically, if you offer the best gifts, you make the most money. I mean, it's kind of how donations work for like fundraisers and stuff. Very cool though. I like the Mega Shiba mount. That's cool. I wish I could get that. That's such a cool mount. Can I donate some tax to Shibuya? Can I send some money for these items? I would. I'm not even a paid player. I would just like it. All right, what are we doing next? Epic introduces a major Unreal Engine 5 update that runs twice as fast on Switch 2. So UE5's new lighting update features improved performance on Switch 2. The mount's on the store, but it would be cool. Epic Games' latest version of Unreal Engine 5 has introduced a significant performance boost for Switch 2, it says. Unreal Engine 5.8 was released on Wednesday ahead of Epic's State of Unreal event in Chicago, and following a period of early access. Along with various features, the full release of the UE5 update introduces a surprise new light version of its Lumen lighting system, Epic revealed, which it says will lead to significant performance increases in Switch 2 games. Lumen is UE5's global default illumination and reflection system, which calculates light bouncing in real time, saving developers from having to bake light maps into their game worlds. I actually like the way Lumen works because it seems less costly than full-on like ray tracing, and I guess in cases it can be, but it's a decent enough alternative. According to Epic, Lumen Light runs twice as fast as Lumen's previous version, meaning that games that rely on global illumination can now run on Switch 2 at 60 FPS, which is great. That's pretty nice. Lumen Light is designed to preserve much of the visual impact at a significantly lower GPU cost. Interesting. I wonder if it's just a detail thing or what, since that makes Lumen viable where it wasn't before, including on Switch 2, and that work is already helping drive further nanite optimization efforts for the platform. A few games built with Unreal Engine 5, such as Epic's own Fortnite, have already been released for Switch 2. With this latest update, players will hope to see more UE5 games ported to the console in the future. I'm wondering how it impacts Fortnite right now. Does that mean like the lighting can be better or the frame rate be more stable? One thing I've had a problem with Fortnite on Switch 2 is there's like a hitch every cycle, and it'll just jump or drop a frame within that one cycle of frames per second, and it's not consistent. But man, once I noticed it, it was hard to not notice it. I don't know if that's been patched. I don't know if that's been better. I have not touched Fortnite on Switch 2 in a while, but it was my issue when it launched. And maybe this build of Unreal Engine makes it better. Maybe they release a new version of Fortnite on Switch 2 that has the 5.8 backing it. That'd be cool. Brent, good to see you. Happy Friday. All right, we got a couple more stories to go. I thought this was funny. It seems like a very well-made mod. Halo veteran weighs in on campaign evolved, and I'm not sure anyone agrees. Not everyone sees campaign evolved the same way, as Bungie's GamerGrind offers a particularly blunt assessment. Says, I often cover comments from former Halo developers, and they're usually quite profound. Recently, Halo veteran Eddie Smith spoke about the dangers of AI and warned against the industry's growing reliance on it, a message that feels increasingly relevant. Or last month, a former Bungie lead argued that Microsoft is missing a massive opportunity with Halo and that the franchise had been underutilized for years. I agree with that. That is very true. Judging by recent reports of the ongoing at Xbox, however, it seems they may agree with that assessment. However, one former Halo veteran, James Greismer, has a more combative take on Halo Campaign Evolved. In response to a fan on X, formerly Twitter, he discussed some of the changes made to the remake, specifically a section involving the tank. After a fan observed changes to environments during tank driving gameplay, Greismer responded with a bullseye emoji, seemingly signaling his agreement with the sentiment. That prompted another fan to ask, do you think the game looks good? Greismer remarked, it seems like a very well-made mod. I'm sure it was quite expensive. I do somewhat agree with the fan's observation regarding the tank section. That said, I still think Campaign Evolved looks fantastic. I have my gripes, as I'm sure many others do, but the game is shaping up nicely and I'm excited for its release. So in fact, I was excited enough to secure the collector's edition before scalpers managed to snap up most of the available stock. Of course, I'm a huge Halo fan, so I found these comments particularly striking. Greismer even went a step further, adding, I mean, it's a mod for a great game. Interesting. So I didn't know this about the tank gameplay. Is there a slider? No, I guess not. Personally, I can't understand his perspective and don't agree with his take at all. Campaign Evolved certainly has some changes that won't please everyone, but from what I've seen so far, it's shaping up to be something great. I think it looks great. I hope it plays well. That's my thing. Like, it can look as pretty as ever, but if it doesn't play and feel like Halo CE that has been modernized, I don't know that it's going to be important enough, as a release. It might play wonky. Something might feel weird. Time to kill might be awful. Like, there are things that they're tweaking that could actively make the game feel worse. So I'm just hoping it all stays in that good to okay range. Because Halo 1, it was really foundational for a lot of shooters and the models around how shooters are built. So, if they don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but I'm sure there are modern things that they want to bring in that maybe don't have a good place in this remake. I don't know. I kind of find it funny dude sees it as a mod though. I thought that was hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably be picking it up day one. I don't know precisely just yet if that's the case. If I do, it might be digital so me and my wife can co-op it, because I think co-op's online only. Unless it has split screen, then I'll probably buy a disc if there is a physical one available, because who knows anymore. Who knows what's going on. All right, let's talk more about the Xbox Store. It seems to be planning a consumer-friendly update with price history transparency for games and add-ons. I think I saw something like this recently. It seems as though Xbox is getting a much-needed consumer-friendly update that brings the Xbox Store in the US more in line with other digital storefronts. Recently spotted a back-end update that adds lowest-priced indicators, which appear to show whether a game is currently at its lowest price within a set number of days. Hey, Kel, split screen. I know if it has local split screen, which I'm not sure if it does. I might need to go look it up. If it has local split screen, that's easily a day one purchase. If not, I might wait. I don't know. All right, it says this is already a requirement parts of the EU thanks to EU Omnibus Directive, which requires retailers to display discounts relative to the lowest price offered during the previous 30 days, and it's something Xbox already does in some EU regions. It supposedly does have local co-op split screen. Don't bash me for not trusting a statement that they made, but the last time they promised split screen co-op, they backtracked on it twice. Backtracked on it twice because they promised it in the next game, which was Halo Infinite. Then when it didn't launch with it, they went, "Oh, well, we just need more time to work on it." And they took the extra time to work on it and then went, "No, we can't make it work. We're just not going to make it work. You get online co-op and that's the best you get." So forgive me for not trusting what they say off the bat, because they promised me split screen twice in one game and backtracked on it twice. So we'll see. All right, I don't really care about this article. I just thought it was kind of cool that we might start seeing, hey, this game is actually as cheap as it has been, or it's been cheaper before. Now I think that might hurt sales, like if a game does go on like a 30% off sale, but it's been 50% off within the last like 30 days. Oof, nobody wants to buy it at that discounted rate because they know they could have gotten it cheaper, so they'll wait for it to get that cheap again. That's what that happens. That's life. All right, anyway. All right, it says if you haven't reserved a Steam controller yet, you might have to wait till next year. Found the prices, etc. for the Final Fantasy 14 donations. Oh, nice. And Valve has an update for fans who want to get in on a Steam controller with an eye towards fulfilling new orders in 2027. So last month, the Steam controller launched and demand has far outweighed the supply. So much so that as of today, new orders for the Steam controller won't be fulfilled by Valve until 2027 at the earliest. The company stated that the response to the controller has exceeded our expectations. In the interest of clarity, Valve will now provide customers with 3 estimated delivery windows for Steam controller based on when they place their orders: September 26, December 26, and a vague 2027 that came with a promise for more specific info down the line. Players who have already placed their orders can log into their Steam account to see their order window. Valve noted that the reservation queue is still in effect and will be sending messages to players when their turn to buy a Steam controller arrives. Once that email is sent, that was weird. Once the email is sent, customers will have 72 hours to finish their order, or else they will lose their place in line to someone behind them in the queue. Interesting. Kind of a odd take, but I guess they're just selling through these things all over. Hey, Daniel, good to see you, brother. Happy Friday, man. How was your day? How's your day been? All right. We're coming up on the hour. How much time we got left? How many stories? All right, last story. Coming up, making good time. Activision confirms Call of Duty Black Ops ports to PS4 and PS5 are not remasters. Busy? That's a shame, dude. Okay, so Black Ops is my entry point to the console Call of Duty. With this game and its sequel producing some of my fondest memories. Okay, I don't want to be taking down memory lane. It says, however, what was not done today was what form new releases would take. Would these be ground up remasters with extra content, or simpler ports that just get the game playable on modern systems with no substantial changes? According to Eurogamer, it looks like the latter, as Activision confirmed to the British outlet and longtime Digital Foundry web hosts that the PS4 and PS5 releases are ports and not remasters. Based on that, it seems logical to assume we're unlikely to see a native PS5 release with features like 120Hz or VRR support, and instead a PS4 class release that potentially runs a higher resolution on the more powerful PS5 and PS5 Pro hardware. Given Black Ops 2 ran at just 832 by 624 on PS3 back in the day, the original Black Ops was even worse at 960 by 544. And even an output resolution of 1920 by 1080 for PS4 would be a huge change. Looking back at the other Call of Duty releases, a 1080p PS4 release might run at full 4K on PS5 and PS5 Pro, potentially with 1440p checkerboard or even native 4K PS4 Pro release. There's also the potential to use dynamic resolution scaling, as we saw in some of the Call of Duty releases that targeted the PS4 and its successors. I'm just finding it weird that they're only putting these on PlayStation, and I guess it's because Black Ops 1 still better as Zork. Oh, it was so cool. You buy for Zork. It was a cool Easter egg. I'm curious, like, is is this going to cross play with like PS3 players if they're playing online? Hey, greatest YouTuber, what's up? I haven't seen you in weeks. I mean, I haven't seen you maybe this week, but it hasn't been multiple weeks. All right, but anyway, also, does the Xbox versions, like the Series S back compat version, count, or are they just not porting it? Why would they do this? Yes, you can play it on Xbox already, right? And PlayStation can't play it on modern consoles. Chili, I fully understand that. But we're talking about Activision and Xbox here, who would not only port these games with no additional features, they would charge a premium for this to be on Xbox. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I just find it weird. Also, the servers for multiplayer on the 360 versions of these games are awful. You any lobby you get in is a bunch of hackers and cheaters and insane people who turned off the gravity, and everybody's got a grenade launcher, and your loadout doesn't matter, and it's awful. They're just, it's almost unplayable. Campaign is a different story. Campaign's fine. Enjoy it. I'm just curious because it looks like the multiplayer is included in these. So does that mean they're like maybe launching new servers, more secure servers? I don't know. I'd be very interested to find out. But yeah, it looks like all the attention is on this PS4, PS5, PS4 port, and I wonder how well it's gonna sell. But leave it to Activision. Yeah, multiplayer is included, right? But it's like, okay, but what is it using new servers, or are they gonna use the hacked servers from the PS3? Like the server infrastructure that exists if you play the game on, I guess you can still play it on PS3. I don't know. That's what I want to know, and that's where I'm leaving it. Game news. I'm out of topics for the day, but I'm just curious. Like that whole release is just kind of weird. It come out of nowhere, and then it's like, what features does it have, and how is it going to connect? Am I going to be able to play with PS3 players? But that would be weird. Or we're going to have a bunch of hacked lobbies. That's also weird. That just doesn't seem like a smart idea in 2026. That's all I'm saying. It just seems like an odd time. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's all the time I've got. I do have to get going. I've got some errands to go run. I do have the day off, but I've got some errands to go run, things to take care of. So we're gonna have to do those. Let's find somebody to raid. Actually, I think we're just gonna raid Lano. I should be back on today on the gaming roundtable over on Ginger Prime's channel. Why did my voice squeak? Oh my gosh, I'm dying. No, I'm not. Anyway, I should be on there, barring anything crazy happening. But in the meantime, I'll send you guys over to Reforge. I'm pretty sure Lano's gonna be on the show today as well. So look for all of us there. It'll be a great time. Hey, Chili, thank you for joining the stream. Daniel, thanks for being here. Everybody who joined, thank you for being here. If you haven't already, watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Oh, I do owe you guys a watch time update. All right, so pretty hyped for this. Let's look at it together. I almost forgot. Base Guru would be upset with me if I didn't share with him the latest update. So watch time is coming. Give me a second. That we updated every Friday, and so you guys are gonna have to put in some work on the playlist this coming week. But we jumped quite a bit thanks to that Kingdom Hearts video that I published last week. It did so well. All right, and then we'll restart and make sure it gets updated. And it's saving and asking me questions. And we are at 2409 out of the 3,000 required watch hours before we can get channel memberships turned on. That is insane. We are within 600 watch time hours for hitting watch time goal phase 1. So I'm really excited. I also want to point out that the Kingdom Hearts video did really well on the channel. It is the first video I've ever published that has hit, like long form, that has hit, let me look at the actual views, that has hit 10,000 views. That is crazy for a channel my size. I'm very excited for that. So thank you guys for showing up, sharing the video. I mean, the YouTube algorithm definitely did its thing. That was really cool to see. So 10K views on that video was awesome. Supposedly I've gotten a little over 1,000 watch time with that one, so we should hit our goal pretty soon. Like I said, over the next week, if you guys can leave the watch time grind playlist going on an extra tab, that would be awesome to help that grow as well. But yeah, so here we are. You know, we are 2 YouTube subs away from 1,700 as well, so that's going to be awesome. It's just crazy. It's a crazy time. I'm very excited. British Timothy, thanks for joining. As I wrap up the stream, I do love you guys. I hope y'all have a great week ahead of y'all. Like I said, I'm not streaming at all next week. I'm taking some time away. I'm gonna go touch grass, sand, and the ocean. So I'm very excited for all of that. I love you guys. Y'all have a good time, whatever you got going on, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
The entire crux of the argument is purely based off of the hardware sales.